All right, let's answer his question now from Joe Quicks, at Joe Quicks23 on Twitter. Quote, I have one remaining entry in Survivor. Nice job. Wanted to know your opinion on Week 14. I have the Ravens, Packers, Saints, and Texans available. Thank you. Enjoyed the show. All right, so Joe Quicks, let's first take a look at the Ravens you have available. They are 7.5-point home favorites over the Rams. You also have the Packers available, which I would not advise using. Packers, 6.5-point favorites on the road over the Giants. We'll go into each one here in a minute. The Saints. I don't trust the Saints to beat Florida State right now.
It'd be close.
Saints are 5.5-point Panthers favorites over the Carolina Panthers, who are not much better than Florida State. And the Texans also available, and they are 5.5-point favorites on the road against the Jets.
And that's all money against them today, because that was up to 6.5. Even though the Jets, man, you're hearing all bad news here, because Tim Boyle, I believe, got released.
He did.
Today, and now it is going to be Brett Rippon promoted from the practice squad. So all of a sudden, you got Brett Rippon and Trevor Siemian.
What I find interesting, too, is Robert Saleh, the coach of the Jets, was so stubborn in how he supported Zach Wilson through all those weeks. Now, all of a sudden, he doesn't have any quarterback to play, and he won't put Zach Wilson back in?
Right, or Zach Wilson's telling him to, go you-know-where, that he doesn't want to play.
You can't do that.
You wouldn't think he could.
No, if you're Zach Wilson, a young quarterback in the league, you can't tell.
But that was one of the rumors that were making the rounds today.
I don't believe that. I don't believe it. Because, first of all, if you tell a coach that, your career's over.
Right, because that's going to get around because dudes talk. But I believe what he said, his options were Baltimore, Green Bay, Houston, and New Orleans. I'm going to say no on Houston, even though it's against the Jets, because this is a team that's not used to being a road favorite. They were road favorite one time this year, and that was at Carolina, and they lost. That was Carolina's one lone win. And you don't want to use a team or buy a team at the top of the market, and I talk about that all the time. Houston now 7-5. They're right there. And now with Jacksonville having lost a game, Houston and Indy are like right on their on their tail in terms of winning the division. So no go for Houston for me. You mentioned Green Bay. That's also a no go.
The Packers just in a tough spot here. It's knocked off the Chiefs. They've won 4 of the past 5.
Yeah.
They're riding high. Going on the road playing the Giants, this is a tough spot for the Packers.
It absolutely is. So that would be no for me, and that's a Green Bay team at the top of the market. New Orleans, I know it's Carolina. Carolina's actually taken some money from the opener, though. So to me, by default, I know it's the chalkiest.
Got to be the Ravens.
It's the Ravens, because I think you got to look, where are you going to use the Ravens?
First of all, this is high stakes.
Yes.
You're still alive in Survivor. The implied value of each entry is what, about $300,000?
Yes.
With 30 entries left in a $9 million contest, you're not going to fool around here. You're not going to bet your survival on the Saints, Texans on the road, or the Packers on the road. I think I got to put it in the hands of Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh, and the Ravens.
And I'll tell you why here. When you look at the schedule, it is the Rams. The Rams are playing better.
But the Nakua's out.
Yes,
this week.
and
the receiver down for the Rams.
Ravens are a 7-point favorite. Ravens have been a pretty good bully at home, with the exception of Indianapolis.
Right.
They've covered all these home favorites. Now this is bigger than the numbers that they've laid for the most part. They do go to Jacksonville the next week for Sunday Night Football. We don't know yet how long Lawrence is going to be out. I know he's likely not going this week, but it doesn't seem as catastrophic as it looked last night, at least on initial reports. So you may have Lawrence playing, and then are you gonna want to risk your survivor at the 49ers on Christmas Day? No, thank you. I'm not going to get in front of the 49ers on a survivor. And then you have Miami coming in, and Miami is one of those teams that, best offense in the league. They're still looking to get kind of a signature win where they can beat an elite team, and they're going to have opportunities. I think they have Dallas, they have Buffalo, and then of course the Ravens on New Year's Eve. So that's a tough deal, even though Miami going on the road for that one. And then you have a divisional game. You have Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh might be fighting for their playoff lives, and then Baltimore may have already clinched the North. So maybe Lamar and those guys sit. So you don't want to necessarily use Baltimore in week 18, here, I don't think, because you might have Lamar and some of those guys sitting out if they got a couple game lead in the division.
I'm looking at that too. I don't know you're going to find a better spot to use the Ravens.
Yeah, this is the best spot to use them.
This is the best spot, and it's high stakes at this point. Don't fool around, right?
Yeah, so it'd be Ravens of those 4 options that the gentleman provided us.
Joe Quicks 23 on Twitter. Best of luck, Joe, with your play. If you go with the Ravens and they lose, blame it on Wes.
Yeah.
I'll take the blame.
I'm like
half of the blame too. I would go with the Ravens. I would have to.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.